Hi everyone, welcome back to SalesforceBigThumb, and in this video we will learn about relationships. Well, not the relationship with your girlfriend, the relationship between two objects in Salesforce. So let's begin. Alright, so here we have a table, or as we call in Salesforce, an object. So this object is having multiple details. Let's take a look at this. So at first we have VID, which is the vehicle ID. Then we have the brand. Then we have model, the manufactured year, the origin country of the brand, and the phone number of the brand. Okay, and we have 6 records in this table. Now, if we look at the first record, this is a Maruti Suzuki Wagon-R. We can see that the origin country is India and the phone number is so and so. But again, in V4, we see that the same origin country and phone number is repeated. Similarly, in V2, we can see the same details are getting repeated multiple times. This repetition of data is called data redundancy. Now, this repetition of data is not good for our database because it is occupying unnecessary space. I hope that's clear. Then we also have one more scenario, one more problem in this. That is, what if the Maruti Suzuki's phone number has to be changed? So if we have to just search for every single record which is having the brand Maruti Suzuki, and we have to change the details in each and every record separately. Now, what if we miss one record? So that scenario would lead to data inconsistency, which is nothing but our database is having inaccurate data. So there are two problems in this scenario: data redundancy, which is repetition of data, and data inconsistency, which is inaccurate data in our database. Now, to solve these problems, what I've done is I've broken the same table into two smaller tables or objects. Let's take a look. So the first object I've named it cars, and the second one being brand. Now let's take a look at the cars object. So first we have CID, which is the cars ID, then BID, which stands for brand ID, then the model and the manufactured year. Similarly, for the brand object, we have BID, the same BID which we have in cars object, then the brand, then we have origin, and then the phone number of the brand. So what I have essentially done is I have solved both the problems which we had. First, data redundancy. Now as you can see, there is no repetition of data. And second, data inconsistency. Now, if we have the same scenario and I have to change the phone number of Maruti Suzuki, I have to just make changes in one single record, and it is done all over. I hope that's clear. Now, talking about the primary key and the foreign key in these tables, for the cars object, we have CID as the primary key, and for the brand, we have BID as the primary key. Now, to relate both of these objects together, we need a common field in both of these tables. And the field which is serving as a foreign key here is BID. So as you can see, BID is common in both of these tables, and it is uniquely identifying each record from cars to the brand object. I hope that's clear. Now, when you have understood relationship, let's move on to how many kinds of relationship are possible. So at first we have one-to-one relationship. One-to-one relationship means that each record of one table is uniquely identified by another record of one another table. Now let's take an example. If we have the same example, and if we say that the Maruti Suzuki brand has a model Wagon-R, and Maruti Suzuki has WagonR, and no other record or no other brand can have the same model WagonR. So this is a kind of one-to-one relationship. But do we actually need to separate both of these? No, right? So what we essentially do here is in one-to-one relationship, we don't separate them into another tables or objects. Instead, we just create a field in the same table and place them in the same table right there. Now, let's move on to our next relationship, which is one to many and many to one. So both of these are same. It's just depend on from which object are you looking at. For example, if we look from car's object perspective, then one record or many records of the car can be just related to a single record of the brand. Like Maruti Suzuki, the first record of brand can be related to the first record and the fourth record of the car's object. So if we look at from car's perspective, then it is a many to one relationship. But if we look at from the brand's object perspective, it is a one to many kind of relationship. Now, there is one more kind of relationship which is many to many relationship, and this we would be discussing in some other video. So let's move forward. Now, a one to many relationship is signified by this symbol, where this side stands for the many object and this side stands for the one object. For example, for the our example, we can place car's object right here and the brand's object here. Now, some important points that as we saw the foreign key concept, the foreign key is always on the many side object. All right. If we see it an example, the foreign key is on the many side, which is the car's side, not the brand side. The foreign key is present here, not in this table, right? And now, some important points. The foreign key is always placed on the many side object. If we look at it at our example, we can see the foreign key is present on the car's object, which is the many object, right? And in Salesforce, the relationship field is the foreign key. So we don't use the term foreign key in Salesforce. Instead, we use the term relationship field. I hope that's clear. So that's all for this particular video. And make sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you in the next one. Till then, keep learning. Bye bye.